Well, this week, board members at a nonprofit formed by Mayor Cantrell sued the executive director they fired in August, alleging he tried to take back control of the charity's money. Well, that money includes more than $1 million in public funds the mayor sent earlier this year to Forward Together New Orleans, the nonprofit she created. Now, that was the subject of David Hammer's investigation last month, and now David looks at new allegations of corruption inside the mayor's fund.
Forward Together New Orleans, a charity created by Mayor Cantrell in 2019, hired Sean Randolph as its first executive director in October 2021. The charity's volunteer board agreed at that time to pay Randolph $80,000 to work full-time for FTNO. But as this worker cooperative's website shows, Randolph was also the executive director of the Obron Institute, which helps worker-owned companies across the country. And that wasn't the only one. These emails show he was also running a charity in Florida that trains students to be leaders. The FTNO board says it was surprised by the other jobs, and so was philanthropist Mike Mann, founder of the Florida charity.
And then he wanted me to pay him more, like to take on more hours. I was like, well, how are you going to take on more hours when you have all these other jobs? Which he didn't have a rational explanation for.
Mann gave hundreds of thousands of dollars to create a charitable trust called Make Change. He said he hired Randolph, and for years Make Change paid out hundreds of thousands of dollars to worthy causes.
And then I hired him and doubled his pay to work double the amount of time to help me with fearlessleaders.com, which was a new charity project.
But then Mann started questioning Randolph's work product and how he spent the charity's money, like when they needed a lawyer to set up their 501c3 tax status.
He tried to get me to hire this attorney in New York, but the guy was like double rate of what he should have been.
Randolph also started with positive reviews in New Orleans. He worked on a fellowship in City Hall in 2021, and FTNO hired him as executive director, touting him in a January announcement as a serial entrepreneur. But a month later, Randolph was using the charity's funds to hire the New York attorney at $650 an hour. Randolph told us the board was mismanaging FTNO and he needed to clean house.
I got an attorney for FTNO. I went out, we got a bookkeeper, and I was like, go through everything, find anything and everything that was accidentally or intentionally done wrong. And that's where things were starting to become discovered.
The FTNO board chair, Kathleen Kennedy, claimed she didn't know about the lawyer until sending this email to Randolph in July, right after Randolph got Kennedy and another board member to sign this resolution stepping down. But Kennedy said that vote to replace her didn't count, saying the board was still intact. She fired Randolph in August. He then made allegations against the board to the city council and inspector general. He created this new FTNO website, changed these official state corporate documents, and now the FTNO board is suing him. The lawsuit claims Randolph tried to seize FTNO's bank accounts, and that sounded very familiar to Mike Mann.
Again, he tried to take control of our bank account. After I fired him, he determined it was his money somehow in the bank account.
FTNO got more than $1 million in public money to pay for city programs. Now they've all been halted during an inspector general investigation. Former federal prosecutor Matt Coman is an expert on government corruption, and he says FTNO is a mess.
That is now devolved into a complete legal battle over who controls what, when, how, and where.
Randolph says he's a whistleblower exposing misspending in the mayor's fund.
And he's trying to make himself look like the white knight.
But Coman says it looks like there are just as many questions about Randolph's multiple jobs and his spending of FTNO funds.
If that individual does not have the documentation to show the deliverable that he or she provided in exchange for those funds, when he's got multiple hats on at one time, that's going to be certainly something that's going to raise a red flag for him.
The truth could be in the documents gathered by the inspector general using this subpoena.
It's follow the money. Where'd the money go?
David Hammer, Eyewitness News.
The lawsuit alleges Randolph went to Liberty Bank as recently as October 3rd, trying to seize back control of FTNO bank accounts that contain more than $1 million in city money. A hearing on the board's restraining order against Randolph is set for next Thursday.